Okay, so we're going to go over Bertie's training. That way you guys know how to be consistent at home and know how to reward the behaviors that you want, but also correct the behaviors that you don't want. So first we're going to introduce the tools that we use for those corrections. So Bertie has his prong collar, and to get this on and off of him, you press and hold here and pull up to get it off. You'll put it around him, and then to get it back on, you'll put one side in, pinch the other side together, and slide it in back together. If you try and put one side in and pull it into that spot, it won't go. So you do have to put one side in, pinch it together, and slide it in there. Once this is on Bert, you will attach the leash to this portion of it, the D ring, not the O ring, but the one that's shaped like a D, and this will be on him. Usually we try and keep this portion of it on the top side of his neck. That way it's easy for us to access. And when he does an unwanted behavior, we're going to say no, give him a slight pop of the leash, and then remind him what he's supposed to be doing. For the e-collar, I'm just going to quickly show you how to turn it on and off and how to use the correction feature. And then at the end of the video, we'll go over all of the other features of the remote collar. So to turn the collar on, you will tap this red button here on the remote to this red button here on the collar. Just a quick tap. They're magnets, so that will turn the collar on. You saw this green light flash. It'll flash every few seconds so that you know it's on. And then on the remote, on the back of the remote, is this button here in the center with an L on it. To get it to turn on the remote, you're going to press and hold that button until the screen lights up for you. Now the remote is turned on, and so is the collar. So now that that's on, to correct Bertie for an unwanted behavior with the remote and e-collar, we're going to press that black S button here on the top of the remote. On the other side, there's a T button. We'll go over that later. But for corrections, we're going to use this black S button here on the top. You'll just tap it and release it. Same as the prong collar, pop and release. This is going to be a tap and release of the button. So that's how you turn the collar on and use both the prong collar and the e-collar. So now we'll go over his commands. That way you know how to correct and reward each behavior and also know what his commands are. So his first command is the heel command. That is where he's walking next to us on the left-hand side. If he gets out of our space, we're going to correct him. We'll correct him for getting out of our space in the heel by saying no, pop of the leash, and then reminding him heel. So no, pop of the leash, remind him heel. For the e-collar, it'll be on him. We'll say no, black S button here, and then remind him that he's supposed to be healing. You can use both of them together, or you can use one or the other. It doesn't matter. But that's how you correct for the heel command. No, pop of the leash or press of the button, and then reminding him that he's supposed to be healing. Different ways that we can reward Bertie for those behaviors is verbally praising him, reminding him what he's supposed to be doing, and good Bertie, good job. Verbally praising him, letting him know that he's doing a good job. Another thing we can do to reward Bertie for that command and doing well in that command would be by giving him treats. Some days he likes treats, some days he doesn't. Some days he'll like one flavor, the next he'll like another. So it kind of is day by day if Bertie's going to want those treats. So offer them if you want. He usually takes them if you offer them, but not always. So you can reward him with those treats. And the third way that we can reward is by giving him pets. I usually try to keep those on the calmer side so we don't overly excite them and have them mess up, but just some calm pets. That way you can reward him with that. So I know Bert doesn't like treats. I know that's something that you guys were worried about in the beginning. So there are other ways to reward him. If treats don't work one day, go with the verbal praise and the pets for each command instead of using the treats. If he'll take a treat, that's great. You can use treats that day, but kind of go with what is going to motivate him to do the work. So his next command will be free. That's the command that we use to release him from his commands. So if he's in that heel, He is on our left-hand side right next to us. He has to kind of stay focused on us so he knows what he's doing. That is the heel. It takes up about 80% of your walks, whereas the free command, if you say free, he is free to sniff, go potty, do as he pleases without dragging you. There still needs to be a little bit of lack in the leash. That way there's not pressure on him, but he's free to do what he wants. And that should be about 20% of the walk where he is free to sniff, do his business, and kind of explore a little bit. That's used again to release all of his commands. And his next command is sit. So with the sit command, instead of saying stay to make him stay in that command, we're just going to make it an implied sit. So we say sit, and then when we want to walk away, tie our shoes, do other things, when we want him to sit there, we'll remind him sit. That works for door manners as well. So we walk him to the door, we ask him to sit, we open the door, and usually as we open that door, we remind him that he's sitting. That way he knows that he's supposed to stay in that sit until we're ready for him to walk through the door with us. That helps him not barge through doors, not get overly excited and jump on people that are maybe on the other side of the door. The implied sit also works for a lot of greetings. If you want him to stay calmer, relaxed, and not jump on people, you'll put him in a sit and remind him sit when he meets those people. That way he stays in a calmer state of mind and doesn't get excited and want to jump. His next command is the down command. Again, same as the stay, or same as the sit, the stay is implied. So for down, the stay is also implied. So we'll put Bertie in a down, and he's expected to stay in that down until we release him by saying free. We want to give him a lot of reminders for this one, especially when I'm working in the lobby, working in public areas. We like to remind him down. If we're going to go out of sight, perfect time to remind him. If you see someone approaching you guys, perfect time to remind him. Give him those reminders, especially right now in the beginning, so that he knows what's expected of him and doesn't get distracted and kind of puppy brain forget what he's supposed to be doing. So that's how you reward the down. Always go back to him to reward. Again, that's an implied down or implied stay. So he's in that down. You can walk away, just give him lots of reminders, and then to reward him, walk all the way back to him, good down, and reward him. If you're giving him treats, reward those treats low to the ground. If you're giving him those pets, again, keep him on the calmer side. That way he doesn't get overly excited and want to get up. If you're giving him that verbal praise, you can do that with your reminders. Good down, good job, just to help him remember what he's doing, but also praise him, let him know that he's doing a good job. The next command is place. That is that elevated boundary or bed that he goes on. This can be used for a lot of situations. If you're making dinner, if you're having friends over and you kind of want him to be in his own space, it's a positive place for him to be without him running after people, jumping on people, being under your feet while you're cooking food, different things like that. So that is the place command. Especially in the beginning, I'd have that leash on in the house. That way you have a quick way to correct him, or have the e-collar on. Again, quick way to correct him if he gets off of that bed. No black S button, place. If he gets off and you just have the leash and prong collar on, no pop of release to get him back onto the bed. Remind him place. Place command is a good one. He's comfortable, he's on there. He can sit, he can lay down, that's most desired. But he can also kind of wander around, sniff the bed. He can have treats, toys, food, whatever you want him to have on that bed. He just has to stay on the bed, not be destructive, and not be overly loud. So that is the place command. And for the place command, we want to do the same thing that we do for the down and the sit stays. The stay is implied, so we remind him place if we want to walk away. And we also want to go all the way back to him to reward for that command. For the fact that if we reward from far away, he may want to come towards you once he sees you reach for those treats. So walk all the way back, grab the treats or the pets to reward him for that behavior so that he wants to stay on the bed and have a positive experience. Usually with place, we like to reward on the physical bed and not from our hands, just because him getting those treats from the bed is going to make him want to stay on the bed and not always follow you, since he knows you have those treats. So we reward on the bed. Again, corrections are the same. No button, place. No pop of the leash, place. So we're always reminding him what he's doing, rewarding him when he does well, and giving him the corrections when he messes up or does an unwanted behavior. His next command is the recall or come when called. This command can be used when he's out sniffing, he's in that free, he can do as he pleases, but then you're ready for him to come back to you. So for that, we would say, come. I usually take a few steps backwards to welcome him into my space. Once he's back to me and sitting, I can reward. Once he sits for that recall command, he is again in that implied sit until you release him by saying free. Once you say free, he's free to do as he pleases. If you call him, you say come, and he's too distracted, he doesn't really have any interest in you, again, no button come, or no pop of the leash come, to remind him, hey, I know you're distracted, I know you're having a great time sniffing, but I need you to come back into my space. So that is the recall command. Again, verbally praise him as he's on his way back to you. Get him really excited to be in your space, because we want you to stay more exciting than that leaf that he was just sniffing or chasing after, or the squirrels or cars, anything like that. So we want him to be really interested and excited in you, since you have that reward, that verbal praise, those pets, the treats, whatever he's into that day. Get him interested in you. That way he's not as distracted to do what he wants. His last command is leave it. So that's when you don't want him to go towards an object, you don't want him to have one. Again, he sometimes doesn't care about the treats. So if he doesn't care about the treats, you could practice it with his toys. I think his video that I did is with a ball, because he was really interested in it that day. He wanted to have a lot of fun and play. So I'd let him play, I'd let him have a good time, and then I would throw the ball or kick the ball. And then if he went towards it and I didn't want him to have it that time, I would say, leave it. If he stops and leaves it, great, reward him for that. If he doesn't and he ignores you, still wants to go towards the ball, or still wants to eat the food that's on the ground, especially at first, use the prong and the leash. No pop of the leash, leave it. That makes sure that he's not still getting to that ball or not getting to that food because the leash is on him. And once you set those boundaries with him, then you could go to using the e-collar. Again, no black S button, leave it. For the prong, no pop of the leash, leave it. Same for all of his commands. So those are the quick overview of his collars, and then how you correct and reward for all of his commands and behaviors. Again, especially for the heel, if he chases after those cars, no, pop and release, and remind him that he is healing. If you want him to be on the place bed, give him those lots of reminders so that he knows what he's supposed to be doing. So those are all of Bert's commands, an overview of the collars. Again, I'll go over a more in-depth explanation of the remote collar towards the end of the video, but for now I'm going to let you see Bert doing his commands.
Heel. Hey, now heel. Let's go. Here you go, good boy. Good job. Heel. Come on, let's go. Heel. Bert, this way. Come on. Keep up. You can do it. Good job. Here you go. Bert, sit. Good job. Good boy. Good boy. Bert, sit. Go. Wait, sit. Good job. Good boy. Heel. Good boy. Bertie, sit. Good. Sorry about that. Sit. Heel. Good. Good heel. Bert, down. Good job. Good boy. Okay. Good job, Bert. Down. Good down. Good boy. Good down.
Good down, Bert. Good boy. Good boy. Good down. Good boy. Good job. Free.
Good job. You're free. You can get it this time. Free.
Okay, so now that we've gone over Bertie's commands and we have watched him doing those commands, we're going to go over a little bit more of the e-collar. So right now it is turned on. You'll see that green flashing light every few seconds. And then on the remote, this portion of it will also flash green every once in a while to let you know that it is on. I like to use this button here. It is the black T button. It's a vibrate feature, and I usually use it as soon as I turn the collar on to make sure that I got both the remote and the collar turned on. Reminder for how to turn the collar on. Again, this red magnet here and this red magnet here, we're going to tap them together. If it flashes red, you've just turned the collar off. If it flashes green, you've just turned the collar on. And same for the remote. It is on right now. If I want to turn it off, this black L button here in the center, press and hold until it turns off. Same thing to get it back on, that black L button in the center, press and hold for it to turn back on. This black T button again is the vibrate feature, and I usually use it to make sure both the collar and the remote are on and connected. And then to correct him, we already went over this part. This is the black S button, so that is how to correct him for his commands. No button, repeat the command. No button, again, repeat the command that he's doing to remind him what he's doing. And then below that, you'll see a red S button. That is what we call the boost feature. I have not had to use it on Bertie, and it's only used usually in emergency situations. So if for some reason he gets out of the house and he's running towards the road or running towards a dangerous environment, we can try the black S button, but with excitement, with arousal, his pain tolerance is going to go up with that. So we want to use this one. If it doesn't work, then we have the red S button just in case we need it. Again, I haven't had to use it with Bert, but you'll see his normal correction level is 20. And then if you had to use the boost, it's going to add 15 to that and give him a correction at 35. Yep. So red S button 20, or black S button 20, red S button 35. It's going to add 15 to his normal amount and hopefully meet him where he's at in that level and current state of running towards something that he's really, really interested in. So that's each of the buttons. Again, normal correction, boost level, and vibrate feature. On the back here is that black L button that we use to turn the collar or the remote on and off. If you wanted to use the flashlight feature, you'll see here it's flashing green to let us know that the remote or that the collar is on. And to turn that flashlight feature on, you can tap. It'll flash for the first one and turns on constant for that second time. To get it back off, you just press it one more time. Again, that black L button in the center. Tap once, it'll flash every few seconds. Tap a second time, it'll turn on a continuous light. That way, if you need to see him in the dark or anything at night, you're able to see him. So that is the flashlight feature. Next to that, you'll see this teeny tiny M/C button on the back. That was for the beginning when we switched between momentary and continuous for different things when we were introducing the collar. It is currently set to continuous, but we will just tap and release each button, and you don't have to mess with the M/C button any because it's set to where we want it. For his level, it is currently set at 20. That may lower or raise once he's home in his environment that he's comfortable with. It may change from time to time based on if he's in the house, if he's outside, if he's in the house, maybe if he's at a store. It may go up and down based on where he's at. So if you needed to change that, you will press and hold the dial down to unlock it, and then I can change it down to 15 if I think he's a little bit too calm and not aroused enough to need level 20. And if I need to change it from 20 to 25, since he is really interested in stuff outside, he's having a hard time focusing on you, you'll just turn the dial to get it to turn up to 25. And right now I can turn that however far up or however low I want. So I'm going to put it back to level 20, and then I'm going to lock it back in place. So I'm going to press and hold that dial down until it flashes at me, and now it is locked in at 20. I can change this as much as I want, and it's not changing that level. We usually like to keep it locked at all times. That way, if it's around our neck or in our pockets, it's not changing on accident to a level that we don't want it to be at. So that is how you change the levels, correct him, boost him, and check to make sure the collars and remote are both on and connected. On and off button for the remote, also the flashlight feature, momentary and continuous feature, which you won't need at home. And then down here at the bottom, there is a charging port. You can use that to charge the collar. There's also, or to charge the remote, there's also one on the collar here to charge the collar. You can charge both of them at a time. We usually recommend charge them every 2 days. It usually stays on for a good 24 to 48 hours. And we usually recommend having them wear it 12 to 14 hours a day. So if you get up in the morning with them, e-collar goes on. And when you put them up at night, e-collar can come off, so they can wear it all that time. The collar is also waterproof, but if you're going to be in those areas with water, just make sure that both of these ports are shut all the way. That way no water or moisture can get in there. And once this is on them, we want to make sure to rotate it if they get wet, just so these prongs here aren't rubbing on that wet area for too long of a time, because we don't want to create sores or uncomfortability. So move this from one side of the neck to the other to help with not making them uncomfortable if they are wet. So that is how to use all of that. In this box here, you have your charger. Again, you can charge both the collar and the remote at the same time. And then you also have these extended prongs. These are a little bit longer than the ones that are currently on his collar. And you can use that if he gets his winter coat. Maybe he gets a little bit thicker and you don't think that he's really feeling the shorter ones. You can always change it to those ones. So those are the extension prongs, and there's a little tool in there to screw and unscrew it. And then the collar also has a 2-year warranty. So if you call them or contact them in any way, let them know that you got the collar with the warranty, and they should be able to help you out. Again, contact the company for that warranty. So that is how you use both the prong collar and the e-collar. I'll remind you again how to take this prong on and off. You'll press and or you'll hold one of them, and I like to press it down, and then on this one you'll hold it and pull up. So you're pushing down on one, pulling up on the other. They will come apart. This can go on Bert's neck, and then to get it on him, you will put one side in, pinch both of these teeth together, and it will slide in. It may take a few times for you to get used to it, but it gets easier with time. And then again, this sits on his neck. Usually this part stays a little bit towards the left side, but on the top of his neck. And you'll attach the leash to this D-ring here. Corrections are no, pop and release, and remind him what he's supposed to be doing. So those are his commands, his collars, how they work, and how to correct and reward him. Biggest things are to stay consistent, have fun, and let us know if you need any help in the future. We're always here to help.